Guys, if you have my book, Beauty in the Gut, you know that I have titled the chapter, Sugar is a Poison. And I called it that for a very good reason, because it is. It is more addictive than cocaine and is in so many different foods. Now, I shared a post on social media earlier today. It was about vegetable oils being worse than sugar. But someone came back to me and wanted to argue, saying that sugar was a health food and they have no health issues because they have it every single day and it is good for them. And I am going to strongly disagree with you on this, because it causes PMS symptoms, it causes menopausal symptoms. So if you're a woman and you're struggling with hormone symptoms, how much sugar are you eating every day? Not just eating, drinking as well, because it's in so many different drinks, it's in so many foods, processed foods, it's everywhere. So if you have real bad hormonal symptoms, think about how much sugar you're feeding your body with. Then the other thing is, it feeds candida, it feeds leaky gut, it feeds gut dysbiosis, your bad bacteria. So if you understand about the gut microbiome, you know that you should have more good bacteria than bad bacteria. So if you have an overgrowth of bad bacteria, this is where your immunity drops. So your gut is responsible for your immune system. So how often are you picking up colds and flus? And if you still say, well, no, I don't really get them, it doesn't matter. Because you could get to 30 years old and have never had a health issue in your life. You could get to 40 and still be at the same. But then you could get to 60 and all of a sudden you have been diagnosed with a health condition and you're like, I don't know how this happened to me. You have to go back 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years to what you were feeding your body with then, because it all adds up over the years until eventually, boom, you get that health diagnosis. And you're like, I don't know how that happened to me, because you've been feeding yourself all this crap food over the years. And this is what's happening. If you get a cancer diagnosis, you need to get off sugar. You need to get off sugar now. Refined sugar feeds cancer cells. It feeds them. And so if you go for things like chemotherapy and you destroy your cancer from that, and you do not change your diet, that cancer is going to come back with a vengeance, and you won't have a second chance this time, because your diet is the feeder of every single disease. Yes, chronic stress is as well. So we do have to manage the stress. I keep saying stress is such a killer. But this food addiction is insane right now, because it's in so much processed food and people are addicted to it. And the food companies know this because they want you to keep going back. And then we have people who are overeating and binge eating. You know, I used to be like that as well. When I had my radioactive iodine, I couldn't stop eating food because I had low thyroid, my gut microbiome was messed up, and I was craving all the bad food. Sugar was one of them. Couldn't get off it. It is crack. Don't ever come back to me and tell me that sugar is a health food. Sugar is not a health food. It also steals your minerals. Your body is made of minerals. If you do not have minerals in your body gets sick. Sugar steals your minerals. And you know one of the most important minerals in the body? It's magnesium. Magnesium is required for over 600 different functions in our body. And if you're eating that sugar, you're losing that magnesium. So this is what's happening. The more sugar you put in, the more minerals you lose. And you know what happens around the time of the month? Women crave sugar, but they usually crave chocolate because chocolate is high in magnesium, but that's where you need to eat the right kind of chocolate and not the loaded sugar kind, because the sugar kind is just going to feed your hormone symptoms and make you feel worse. You might have that little dopamine thing where it's like, oh, I feel really good. And then as soon as you finished eating it, you're like, oh, I feel like crap again. You've got to stop eating the foods that are making you sick. Final thought. So when I talk about sugar, I mean refined sugars, because I always get the question, what about fruit? Fruit is natural. Fruit is an antioxidant. It's full of phytochemicals. It's also full of fiber, which is going to nurture your gut microbiome. It's going to feed your gut bacteria. It's going to help you move your bowels. It's really good for your skin health. And it is not classed as a sugar. It is healthy sugar, the sugar that your body needs. And yes, if you do juice that, it's going to take the fiber away from it, so it's different. So we want to keep that fiber intact. So fruit is allowed, raw honey is allowed. You can have things like maple syrup. Again, it's not something you should have like a lot of, but it is one of the healthier alternatives. You can have things like yacon syrup. You could have manuka honey as well. All of these honeys, dates, so many natural sugars that you can eat that are healthy. My name is Dani Jackson. You can find me at DaniJacksonHealthEmpowerment.com, where my books are. My Amazon shop link is if you want to buy supplements from me. And I'm also in the process of writing a hormone course for women to stop their symptoms naturally via food and supplements, because there's so much we can do for ourselves to help ourselves go through the menopause and menopause symptoms without struggling. Because if the body is struggling, there is an imbalance and you're not eating the right foods. You may be eating too much sugar. You may be eating too many of those vegetable oils. You may be eating or drinking too much alcohol. How much alcohol do you drink? Especially wine. Women like their wine and it's full of sugar. Anyways, guys, have an awesome day. That is just your food for thought today. And if you have things in small amounts, it's not going to kill you. It's when you have it in large amounts, and that is where disease and sickness come in. And it also causes wrinkles and sagging skin, and it ages you faster.